Kia ora! My name's Renee. I like to read books and then talk about them on the internet. Hello! It's been a wee while since I was last here on this corner of the internet talking about books. Yeah. Sorry about that. I hope you miss me. I know some of you miss me because I did actually receive some very nice messages and comments on some of my videos and like DMs from some people saying that you actually did miss me. And you missed my videos. So thank you for those messages. Made me feel very special. But yeah, I have been not really reading a lot in the last few-ish months. But we are staring down the barrel of the end of the year. We have 5 and a bit weeks left and I am ready. I'm ready to lock in and get some reading done. So, in the spirit of trying to achieve some kind of reading goal before the end of the year, because my 2025 reading goals have definitely kind of all gone out the window at this point, I want to try to do something. So, I thought it would be a good idea to compile a short list of books I'd like to read before the end of the year. 10 books to be more specific, 10 before the end. I've seen a few people do like variations of this. A couple people like do 5 books, some people have done 10 books, whatever, it's fine. I don't think it's about a specific number, I just like the sound of like 10 before the end. So I chose 10 and I actually stuck to it. It was very hard. I was like, do I add just another one? And I was like, no, just be sensible. You know that like this is going to be hard enough for you as it is, so let's just keep it cool. So yeah, I've got 10 books and we're going to try and read them before the end of the year. A bit of context around like these books and how I chose them and like what decisions I was trying to make. I was trying not to completely throw all of my reading goals out the window. I know I'm not going to achieve some of them, most of them, but I still wanted to try. So I was considering that and like keeping those goals in mind as I was picking the books. I also like around this time of year, it's summer here, to read something like pretty lighthearted and something that has that summer beach read vibe to me. Like a beach read for me is very different to what I think a beach read for other people is, but just something kind of like light and easy, breezy a bit. I also wanted to read like a couple non-fictions in there, so I've thrown some things in there and I feel quite good about this list. So yeah. Okay. The first 2 books that I have are actually 2 books that I'm currently reading because I'm trying to keep this easy for myself and not make it too hard. So we've just included them in the list and that's fine. First one is Die My Love by Ariana Harwicks. I picked this up because I want to see the film. I am a bit of a purist most of the time when it comes to like book adaptations that are films. If I know I want to read the book, I will try to read the book before I see the film. Yeah, I really want to see the film, so I'm reading this, really enjoying it, really great writing. It's about a woman who is living in like the French countryside, it seems like it. Feels very American, but this book is translated from the French, so it's hard to kind of picture it as anything else, especially when I know that Jennifer Lawrence and, Robert Pattinson is not American, but he does an American accent in the film. Yeah, it's hard to picture it anything but American when those are the people playing the characters, and it's in English, I don't know. Anyway, the narrator is an unnamed woman who is a new mother, and she's kind of on the verge of a mental breakdown. She's going through some things, a lot of stuff, and she is very up and down. It is all loving and tender and vulnerable one minute, and then just like the most kind of violent, visceral phrase will just slice right through that, and you get this very jarring juxtaposition of like love and intense kind of violence, but not hatred in a weird way. Like none of it feels fueled by proper reasoning, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm really enjoying the writing. It's very good, but it is quite intense and full on. So when I am feeling a bit overwhelmed by this and like I can't read anymore, I put it down, and I've been picking up Flesh by David, I think people have been saying Saloy, that's how you say his last name, not sure. This just like a couple of weeks ago won the Booker Prize, so I thought what better time than now to pick it up. And I'm only one chapter in, so I can't really speak to it much yet, but I feel like it's going to be another kind of intense character story, which maybe not the best books to kind of read at the same time, but hey, it is what it is. I think it's going to be very sad, and I'm ready to kind of have this character kind of like not take over my thoughts, but just like get into it and maybe become quite invested in both these characters. So yeah, those are the first two books that I am trying to finish before the end of the year, which I'm pretty sure I will. First up we have Tiny Moons by Nina Ming Pauls, A Year of Eating in Shanghai. Nina Ming Pauls is a favourite writer of mine. Small Bodies of Water is one of her essay collections, kind of like memoir essay, personal essays, and I love it. I love the way that she weaves identity and place and belonging and food into her writing, and she has a very mature outlook. She's only very young. Well, she's probably, I always look at her picture on the back and think she must be young, but of course she's aged like everyone. She is still young. She's a young New Zealand writer with Asian heritage, and so she has a lot of ties to places in Asia, and she's also spent time in the UK. So I think for her, a lot of her writing about things that are meaningful to her is like a way of feeling connected again when she is far away from like her homeland or her family, and that's a part of her writing that I've always really enjoyed. So I expect really good things from this, and I've heard it's really good, and it's like, I think a good choice when it comes to like non-fiction to have something that's a little bit more lighthearted, but I know that she writes in a really considered way that isn't going to feel so light that it kind of just like passes me by, if that makes sense. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting into this. Next one is Temporary by Hilary Laketer. And this is like a weird fantastical workplace novel. It's about a character who is a temp worker, and the jobs that she works in range from the kind of very normal through to like the absolutely absurd. So it has this fantastical element to it. I picked this one because I actually just recently started a new job, and have been thinking a lot about work and career and what it all means recently. So this feels like a kind of nice book to companion this first few months of my new mahi, but not so serious. Like, a lot of the questions that I've been having are very like existential and like none of this means anything kind of thing, but this feels very like it might just pull me back down a bit more, and I don't know, maybe it will conjure up some serious questions as well. But I have had this on my shelf for so long that yeah, I really feel like I need to read it, and now feels like a good time. Okay, one of my reading goals this year in 2025 was to read more books that were gifted to me, and I did okay. I think I read one or two. I mean, that's not great, but I attempted it. Anyway, I want to try to read another book that was gifted to me before the end of the year, and so I chose Alice at the Fire by Jan Fosse. This was a book that Rupert bought me last year for Christmas, and I have not read it. I thought it would be nice to read a book that he's given me, and this one is very small, thin, although I have heard that Jan Fosse's writing can be very dense and hard to get through, so we will see. But the thing I liked about this book is that it's a bit of a family story. It's definitely something that I enjoy reading around this time of year, and the way that his writing is described on the back is like vivid, hallucinatory prose. And I thought for some reason like this could potentially be a good book to read between that Christmas New Year period where like nobody knows what day it is, everyone's kind of just like laxed out. I'll be fully like offline from work and stuff, so I feel like I'll have time and like brain space and attention space to really dig into something like this, even though it's very slim. But I want to be able to like try to take something out of it with his writing. So looking forward to that and that weird, lucid time of the year. Speaking of that time of year, Christmas, summer here, it's very exciting for me because I love when the weather starts to get warmer. Nothing makes me happier than like warm weather. I really enjoy a good family saga, and I wanted to read something like that, but I didn't want it to be 500 pages, and I recently just picked this book up from a book fair. It's A Spool of Blue Thread by Anne Tyler. I thought this might be the perfect one. It is a family saga. It's set in the 50s, but it's told from the perspective of like the matriarch of the family. She goes as far back as the 20s, and I don't know, I just feel like family sagas and that time of year, Christmas, when everyone gets together, it's a good time to kind of take yourself out of your family saga if you have that stuff going on. And I always just enjoy like a cast of characters. I think this time last year I was reading Tom Lake by Anne Patchett, and that felt like the perfect kind of book. So I'm thinking, or I'm hoping this is like a similar thing to that. We'll see. I've never read any Anne Tyler, so looking forward to this. I've always kind of thought that she just wasn't for me. No actual reason, just was never interested. But I read the back of this when I picked it up at the book fair, and I was like, actually that sounds like something I would read. So yeah, this is probably going to be the book that I read like around Christmas. Yeah. Okay, one of my other reading goals was to reread some books, and those so far this year I've reread one. Oh, I've reread one. I reread Sula. So I have done something. So we're going to try and do another one. I opted for something slim, and I'm going to reread Ties by Domenico Starnone. This is actually like not only a book that I've read before, but like one of my favorites. So I am looking forward to diving back into this. I was looking at it before, and like I've lent this book out and I've written annotations in it, but the other person that I lent it out to also did as well. It's kind of it's quite a like revealing, vulnerable position to put yourself in, to like lend out a book that you've annotated in to somebody else and have them see that. I was watching Kat's Field Notes video about how she reads the other day, and she said that that's something she stopped doing because it's like a very kind of personal, vulnerable thing. And I was just like, wow, I was crazy for actually letting someone read those. But it's kind of nice because then it feels like the book is conversing with other people and not just yourself. It's good to now go back into it and be like, what did I mean by that? Or read their annotations. Anyway, this is another family saga type story. I think I might have definitely gone a bit overboard with the family saga, but I do love reading them. Very different kind, very dysfunctional, great writing. It's translated from the Italian by Jhumpa Lahiri, and she wrote an introduction as well. Love this book. If you have read Days of Abandonment by Elena Ferrante, you need to read this book and then see the connection between the two, because those books are definitely like in conversation with one another. And for a little while there, I was convinced that Domenico Starnone is Elena Ferrante, but I don't think that anymore. But he is a fantastic writer, and the way he writes from a female character's perspective at the beginning of this book is like brilliant, and I cannot wait to read it again. Like, I'm so excited. Okay, trying to still continue with the reading goals. My 20 books for 2025, definitely not achieving that this year, but I wanted to try to read another book on that list. So we went with All My Puny Sorrows by Miriam Toews. I've loved her writing. Well, I've actually only read one of her books, Women Talking, but I love her writing. And again, this is a story about family. It's about two sisters. One of them has just attempted to unalive herself, and the other is a pianist? No, the pianist is the one that tried to unalive herself. She's happily married, glamorous, wealthy, but wants to die. And her sister is divorced, broke, sleeping with the wrong man, and she desperately wants to keep her sister alive. So that sounds like it'll be a great one. Again, I just love Miriam Toews' writing, and whenever I'm like searching for something that I want to read and not sure, I'll go with a writer that I know I enjoy based on their writing style. So that was an easy choice. Two more books, and they kind of speak to one another, and they're both non-fiction. Oh, and one of them ticks another one of my reading goals, which was to read a classic, or more classics, but I think it was specifically 3. This is definitely a classic, and she's a classic writer, and I've never read anything from her, and that is Virginia Woolf, A Room of One's Own. I feel like if I'm gonna start anywhere with Virginia Woolf, this is where I want it to be. This book is about, well, it grew out of a lecture that she gave at a girls' college in Cambridge in the 20s, and she's talking about Austen and Bronte and writing and female creativity, and yeah, I think that will be a good one to start with. It's very slim. I'm going to take my time with it. I'm not going to try and push myself, but I wanted to read something like proper classic, and this feels proper classic to me. This is an essay collection lecture-ish thing on writing, and so a book that I felt would pair nicely, perfectly with that one is Bibliophobia by Sarah Chahaya. This is a memoir, and I might be a bit late to the game. Everyone was reading this last year and everyone was talking about how much they loved it. And classic me, I buy a book and then I do not read it, and then I pick it up after the buzz has died down. But I feel like this is kind of a good time now that I can have time and space to just think about it myself. This is a memoir about Chahaya's relationship to specific books and the way that they can influence or affect a person's life. I believe the phrase she uses in here is called life ruiners, books that take this effect of being quite unsettling, or things that you can become obsessed with, or things that evoke lots of intense emotion in. And the book for her that was The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison, which I totally get that sentiment that a book can be that all-consuming and can alter your kind of perspective and understanding of anything in a way that kind of can be quite world-shattering. I think maybe the phrase life ruiner is like a little bit extreme, but maybe it's accurate for her. Maybe that's what I'll learn as I read this. But I'm gonna go in. I feel like it's a good companion to read with Wolf and see how those two kind of speak to one another. I'm excited. Had to get that word in there. Couldn't leave without telling you how excited I was. Right, those are all the books that I'm going to try and read before the end of the year. Who thinks I will read all of them? How many books do you think I'll get through? I'm hoping I can get through all of them. I mean, I purposely tried to keep them all like pretty slim, or if they were big, like have them be a bit more plotty. Who knows? Maybe I'll get a book for Christmas and like abandon everything. But it's fun to do. It's fun to sit down and think about what I do want to read in the next few weeks. I feel good about these books. I'm excited. Let me know if there are any specific books that you want to read before the end of the year. Let me know your thoughts if you've read any of these books. Would love to know. And yeah, I hope everyone has been well in these last few months that I have not been here. And yeah, I'm excited to be back. We might get a few vlogs in the next couple of weeks so I can tell you what I think about these books. Good to be back. Locking in 2025. We're almost at the end. My God. Okay. Bye-bye. Farewell.